That's a life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand. Something you can't feel on dry land. You gotta get your arms way up in a cage and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G that's trying to bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it the world. Hello, welcome to my world.
What's going on, all you Facebook Live and YouTube Live fishing freaks? Welcome to this episode of On Another Line Live. How's it going, JR, over there in Ashlandia?
Going well, man. I'm just trying to figure out how to share this so all the thousands of people can, watch our show tonight.
Yep, I get it. So, been on an interesting couple of weeks here. We've hit or missed a few days here and there due to the fact of life happening. It is Wednesday, which is normally we're live on Tuesday. Yesterday, I was absolutely beat down, and JR had a work event, so we decided to push till tonight. So that is why you are seeing us on another line on another night.
Yeah. I don't think it matters. I think people are just like scrolling around and we pop up and they're like, hey, let's watch this.
Larry Slack in the house, Corey Weaver, what's happening, buddy? Lightning in the house. Thanks for joining us again this evening, guys. We are going to be talking about a few things today. One of those is that I am going to have some new buzz baits and spinner baits for purchase. If anybody's interested in buying some buzz baits and spinner baits similar to those of Greg Grounds at the spinnerbait capital of the world, the Tackle Box. I've pretty much got the spinnerbait knocked out. Like, I feel like that it's legitly the exact same thing that Greg makes. I have to work on painting the eyes. The eyes are absolutely terrible for me. I don't understand what it is. I do a lot of stuff. But I do the same thing he's doing. I guess maybe I just shake too much. Maybe I should have a couple of cold adult beverages before I go out there and dot those eyes, because it's maybe that the paint that I'm using, and I'm using vinyl paint, I think it's just too thick. I need to thin it down a little bit. It streams everywhere, which I don't like. But that's coming up soon. I also am going to work on those little squeak buzz baits that are 3/16 of an ounce, which is, kind of arbitrary. Everybody knows those little squeak buzz baits because they're just that good. They're awesome. So, Corey, I'll definitely get a hold of you. Corey, while you're on here, I had a fellow message me last week, and I was going to message you, but I forgot all about it, to be honest with you, until now. He wanted to know if he could still buy some garlic, and I told him that I would reach out to you and find out. So let me know if you can do that. I think he's wanting to order like 6 bottles of garlic. So let me know, shoot me a message or text me or whatever. And that's the deal. So that's the deal, man. Those little squeak buzz baits, they're I've got the mold. I don't have Greg's mold, first off. Everybody has asked me. I posted that picture of those spinner baits last week about me making those spinnerbait style, tackle box style spinner baits. And I bet you I had 9 people message me the next morning when I woke up to go to work at 5:30, wanting to know if I could make little squeak buzz baits. Well, at that point, I had never really tried to think about remaking them. I knew that there was going to be a big demand for those, and the reason I kind of held out is the fact that I asked Greg when he was retiring if this was going to be something that he was going to try to do on the side, because obviously there's a demand for them. He told me that he really didn't know, and it was kind of like up in the air. I offered to buy those buzzbait and spinnerbait molds off of him, and he would not sell them. He has them, probably making them for himself or what have you. I ended up with a lot of stuff in the tackle box when it comes to bait making supplies. The best of all of that is that it came with the knowledge of what he did to make his baits different than other people's. And I think that is more knowledgeable or more helpful for me than it is the style of baits that he made. Because the style of baits that he made as far as spinner baits, anybody can go out and buy like a bullet head spinner bait mold, but it's how the wire was bent and the style of wire that was used and the different types of blades and the swivels. And like, first off, I didn't realize what I was getting into when I asked him all that stuff about like how to make that stuff. And he was very gracious to give me all the information about that stuff. And I've just kind of started digging into it because I liked his baits so much. I didn't want to have, I wanted to be able to like keep those baits, especially in my tackle box. Like, I like you guys out there, but trust me, if I had a bait that I could catch fish on that you guys can no longer get, there's a pretty good chance that I make that on my own. And there's a big deal about when it comes to making baits and all that stuff, and everybody has their own company that they buy baits from. And I'm not asking you guys to buy them from me, but just to know that they will be available. They're going to be about $6 a piece for the spinner baits. I was totally shocked when it came down to the situation about how much each bait costs to make. A swivel, a really high quality swivel, whether it be a Spro swivel or a Sampo swivel that go on the end of a spinner bait, they're $2+ a piece. And that absolutely blows my ever loving mind. $2 a piece. It's crazy. But that is coming up very, very soon. I'll have those available for purchase, and the buzz baits, the little squeak buzz baits, will be coming up soon. I am working on trying to dive into that. The thing that made the little squeak buzz bait different, and again, I'm not going to give too many things out here because again, he trusted me with this stuff. That the little squeak buzz bait apparently was 3/16 of an ounce, and you cannot find any mold on the planet that is 3/16 of an ounce. I did see the mold that he had, and I did see some things that he had done to the mold and some things that were there. So I'm working on figuring that stuff out, but that will be available. A couple of weeks, November the 2nd, there is a Yatesville tournament coming up for first responders. I'm thinking that's like branches of military, that is first responders for medical stuff. You can reach out to Brian Davidson here on Facebook. There's 2 different Brian Davidsons I know. But this guy, if you look on his page, you'll see this first responder tournament. I think JR and I are going to go enter it. And my students right now, we haven't really decided. Matter of fact, JR and I were just talking about it a second ago, and I realized that I didn't message him back last night. He's wanting my students to make these plaques and stuff for them, which is cool. Because my students, the way it works in Ohio is that I can pay my students a wage to be in my classroom and build those things. So hopefully we can get that done. But the first responder tournament should be coming up November 2nd at Yatesville. Let me see if I can find a flyer.
Lots of tournaments starting at Yatesville. There's a 2 this weekend too. Per usual.
Yeah, every weekend. This is going to be.
Yeah, we need to get those people hunting on the weekends so we can have the lake to ourselves.
Yep, for sure. Brian Davidson. Let's see here. I'm trying to find this flyer so I can get you guys the information that you need. There it is. Let's share my screen here. You'll see it now here. Third annual Veterans and First Responders Tournament. I called it the First Responders Tournament, obviously for veterans as well. November 2nd, 7 to 3, Yatesville, Main Marina. Open tournament, no membership, 100% payback, $50 per boat. At least one person must be a veteran or first responder, hosted by the Marathon Bass League. If you don't have a boat, you can definitely contact Brian Davidson, Melvin Lawhorn, or Seth Christian there. The contact information is there on the screen. you can get a hold of them, and they could probably put you in a boat. If you are a boater and don't have anybody to fish with, you can probably contact them too to let them know that. We have the ability to jump in there. And that's another thing. If you're not a first responder or veteran and you like to fish, you might get a hold of them. There might be somebody that's a veteran or a first responder that needs a boat.
Yeah, good things. It's I know from my standpoint, I feel like a lot of people don't really care. So when people have something like this, it's kind of nice as a first responder, and especially veterans. I feel like it's something that maybe when COVID was at its peak, that was kind of when it was nice. But man, it was hard to go to work a lot of the times when that was going on. But
Yeah.
so
All good.
I want everybody's opinion. What is your favorite music to listen to while you're fishing? This could be a band. This could be a style.
It's a
I'll
dumb
put Tyler
question.
Childers.
It's a dumb question.
No.
Oh yeah. Dumb question. I'll show you why.
Tyler Waller, On Another Line. It's my favorite song to listen to while I'm fishing. Industrial. That's pretty cool. Lightning's over here listening to 9 Inch Nails and Ministry and cool bands like that. See, I knew it was coming.
I mean,
Sunrise on Saturday, I'm headed down to the lake, just my buddy and me.
I just paid myself 100,000th of a penny right there.
Chris Ferguson likes it.
Hey man, it cost me $500 to get that thing recorded and put out on YouTube and stuff, and I've almost made my money back in 3 years or 4 years now.
That's pretty cool.
It's all good, man. I tell you what, if I don't listen to my music, like I'm not that like satirical, I guess you would say, or funny. I don't know, man. Like there's certain things that I am very like fall time of year for me when it comes to music, not only just fishing, but like music in general in fall. I find myself, wow, I had a friend playing Marilyn Manson band. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
So fall time of year to me is bluegrass central, man. I listen to it. So if it's got a banjo in it, I'm listening to it in the fall. I dig a lot of different stuff. Probably going to like if we dug out some of my CDs from high school. It's enough to give you like a stroke because it'll go from like gangster rap from like Tupac, and the next song will be bluegrass, and then the next song might be a bluegrass gospel song, and then it may go to like Machine Head, and then it might go to Slayer. Like I consider myself a music connoisseur. But much like Mr. Fred Redfern here, I don't listen to much music on the water. I would much rather sit and listen to, here's a weird thing. I think I've talked about it in the past. I've just recently dove into the fact that not everybody has an internal dialogue. I am constantly having a conversation with myself 100% of the day. Like right now, I'm already thinking about what I'm going to try to say here. And I'm like having this conversation with myself. And I'm just recently understanding, or maybe it's not true, but if I read it online, it has to be true, that some people don't have an internal dialogue. But me, if I'm out there fishing, like I'm constantly like weighing what happened this past week and kind of thinking about what I would do differently, or what I would change, or the good points about this past week, or what I have going on next week. And that's probably why I'm so tired all the time, because my brain never shuts down.
Yeah, that's actually called schizophrenia. So
Sweet. Cool. So it's me, myself, and I, and us.
It's Patricia.
Is that the case? If that's the case, can I have 10 fish as a limit?
You may have a point.
I mean,
Zim Zum. Yeah, I've never heard of the Zim Zim, but I know those guys have a lot of turnovers on who they put in their bands. It's like, you know, gosh, who's the classic? All of these guys that have these famous big names, and they have tons of different members, like Ozzy, and they bring different guys in. But I know Marilyn Manson's one of them.
Yeah, so like I'm sure it's obviously because of Dimebag Darrell being shot at the El Rosa in Cincinnati, but now Zach Wild was playing guitar for Pantera. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, considering him and Dimebag Darrell were good friends, apparently. I was trying to think if Rob Zombie is one of them that has a lot of change, and the other was Alice Cooper. I was trying to think of Alice Cooper. But anyhow.
Yeah. So back to fishing. It is fall. It is one of my favorite baits to throw in the fall is a crankbait. But one of the things that I have, that you have to deal with this time of year is the reason it's called fall is, well, maybe not the reason, but something that happens in the fall is that the leaves fall off the trees, unless we're talking about pines. Those leaves end up in the water and they float for what seems like months. In my opinion, I think they float until the lake turns over and they finally fall to the bottom. But if you're trying to throw a crankbait this time of year, it can be very, very frustrating. And I really don't know if there's an option to not, get leaves and stuff hooked up unless you just don't throw a crankbait with a hook. And let's face it, that's not going to be very fun because you're going to do a lot of casting and zero catching unless you just wedge a crankbait in a fish's mouth and pull it in. But that's one of the biggest frustrating things for me in the fall is the fact that most crankbaits and moving baits, even a spinnerbait, man, you can get a spinnerbait hung up in those leaves. So this is the time of year that I like to pick up, I start picking up those jigs, Texas rigs, obviously, that's one of those things I'll never go fishing without a Texas rig, some kind of, crawl style bait or a worm. I'm probably going to put down a lot of those big, long worms that I've been throwing all summer on a Carolina rig. But that allows me to fish a little slower. In the last year or so, I've really made a point to try to relearn how to power fish, because there was a point in my life in the last couple of years where I've just worried about catching 5 fish, and I know that I can get bit on a Texas rig or a jig or something like that. So I would fish like a topwater bait in the summer for the first like 5 to 8 minutes of the day, and if I didn't get bit, I was picking up a jig or something. And I caught fish, but I didn't catch as many fish as I think I should have, and that's probably why I was narrowing the window down about what I could catch, because I just assumed that all fish in my area, because it's so tough to catch fish, they were just moving slow and wanting something slow and on the bottom, and that's just not the case. What's up, Andrew?
Good to see you, man. I've had so many topwater bites this fall, and they miss it. I don't know what is the deal, if it's a color, if it's a length, if it's upgrading the hook, something like that. But maybe I'm working it too fast. Maybe that's part of it. Especially, I mean, gosh, I don't know how many I had down at Del Hollow, and then I just feel like I've had so many missed topwater bites this fall, into summer, beginning of fall. But I'm trying to kind of come up with why that's happening.
Yeah. I'm going to show you guys a video. I was digging through my, or not a video, I'm going to show you a picture here. I was digging through my phone, and knowing what I know now about Del Hollow, which is still not a lot, knowing what I know now, let me see this image here. Given this opportunity to go back to this one spot, and at this point I didn't have live scope, but now that I do, and JR can attest to what I'm about to show you here, these fish right here can be caught, and it would have been fun live scoping. And there's not a whole lot of, what's up, Tyler? How you doing? Let me show you guys something here. This is crazy. randomly ran across a whole entire creek that looked exactly like this. Giant amounts of bait balls, but you have fish staged all underneath them. If you look at that one fish about that 30-foot mark there to the far left-hand side, that fish is up in that bait ball just munching, man. I guarantee you, if these are all bass, and you could quickly find out if they were not, if you dropped a sonar minnow of anything down there, I guarantee you every one of these fish could be caught.
So what type of topwaters? Typically walking baits, frogs a couple times too. So Ricky says, speed it up, don't slow it down. All gas, no brakes. I'll try that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's great advice there, Ricky. I have, I find myself fishing a walking bait fairly slow, but I do think that a spook, a spook junior, a hidden spook junior, and like bone white is my absolute favorite walking bait. There's a lot of different baits that go out there. If you want to throw something that moves very, very quickly and is a topwater bait, Jackal has that riser bait, which has been knocked off 7,487 times this past year at ICAST. But that's a really cool topwater bait. But I guess maybe that's why I don't catch any giants on topwater baits. Frogs, yeah, but you're usually throwing that around slop and stuff, and they just have a less viewing or visual of that, so they probably eat it a lot more. But I do think that and Jared and I were talking about it this weekend, that a feathered tied treble hook on the back of a walking bait seems to get bit a little more and also keeps them eating the hook a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were talking about how expensive it is to buy a treble with a feather on it. So me and Tyler are both going to start tying them, and we'll see. Let's see if any of us can tie anything on worth it. Let's see. So if walking bait, try a 1-knot version or silent version. Change up the sound and try if they're missing them. Yeah, that's a good thought too. I definitely I typically stick with the hidden one the majority of the time. I have some of those 1-knocks. I don't know that I have a silent version, but that's a good thought too, to try and change it up. But the hidden one is absolutely my favorite of all of the walking baits. I've tried so many, and none of them can compare.
And the hidden baits are fairly some of the cheapest baits on the planet right now. I mean, they haven't changed their prices in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Larry's tying his own feathers too. I like it.
Yeah, I'm looking for this. I think I showed it last week. I'm not sure if they're going to make those or not. Again, why can I not find what's here? There we go. You guys are not going to be able to see this because I'm looking at pricing and stuff on Shimano stuff. If I can get back here, it would be great.
Tyler, you getting a Phoenix anytime soon, man?
I talked to him last week. He said he was had talked to Chris, and they were working on a price right now. So he's looking at one of the 721 ZXLs.
Yeah, I like it.
I am looking for a specific bait here, and I promise that when I find it, I will show it to you.
Yeah, the wait time's rough. That's why I ordered mine in winter. I think I got mine like January 14th or something. That my my son's birthday is January 14th, so I always remember that day. But I think that's around the day I got it. So I ordered it kind of when I was shutting everything down, and like November. I think I might have ordered it on my birthday actually, and it takes a while, but they send you updates on when they're building it, and that's really really cool too, especially when you can decide every single color on every single thing. But it's a custom boat for you.
So one of the things that I have recently found that I am going to order some of and use, and I think I talked about this last or a couple weeks ago, but this is an absolute absurd bait that I have not seen anything like. I can find a bait that looks decent. Like the problem is the collars freaking suck on this bait. I'll just show you this white one here. Maybe if I would hit the. Come on. All right. I showed you guys this a couple weeks ago. Jackal makes a bait called the Bounty Fish. This is a 4-inch jointed soft plastic topwater bait. This is a floating bait. This thing looks absurd in the water. They make it in a 4-inch, or I'm sorry, this is a 5.5 inch. You can get it in a 6-inch length as well. Pretty crazy, man. Like, I just love that little mesh area there. You know that tail's got to move something fierce. It's crazy. Old Jackal Bounty Fish.
Yeah, that's similar to the way Berkeley's kind of making their joints on some of their baits so that they move well.
Yeah, so that's the deal there, Lightning. I want to try that. Having a fish that's joining it, and I've seen a video. I'm gonna see if I can find this video and I'll show it to you. Obviously, I'm sure the guy won't mind me showing it to you. It's on YouTube. But he uses it as like a saltwater jerk bait, soft plastic jerk bait.
Mm-hmm.
And he like fishes it like a glide bait. Yeah. Might be a short. I don't believe it is.
So 4 per pack.
Fairly expensive for that.
Yeah.
Seems like it would, that thing would skip pretty well too. Oh man, I'll be glad when you're like, holy crap. All right, so I'm going to show you guys this video again. I don't know anything about this person. Extraordinary fishing. Might go out there and give that dude a follow. Who knows? But I'm going to show you this video real quick.
Yeah, the reviews on Tackle Warehouse are, it's great, it's terrible.
And it does because of that mesh joint. Another good thing about this lure is you can bomb this lure. You can cast it a mile out there. It skips really well. You can just put it wherever you want.
Dogs are biting.
So I found this lure worked best swimming it up against grass or up against a tree line.
Oof.
It's a frog bite.
Sweet.
Hey, look, here's the kind of fish.
Another one on the bounty fish. Sweet.
Just not a huge fan of the collars that they have.
This is the thickest cover I'd throw a bounty fish in so far.
I stick to my frog, bro. Frog and a fluke. I do love a fluke.
It's a fluke if I'm throwing one. In more ways than one. I like a fluke. Got a lot of fish at the Potomac on a fluke. Anything that you can rigged weedless, and that bounty fish would freaking slay up there. Crazy. So yeah, talk about it every week. But my boat is officially for sale. I'll have pictures and stuff posted this week. The hours and stuff are going to go up on it because I'm going to use it, obviously. 2006 Stratus 201 Pro XL with a 2006 Emerald E-Tech with 280 hours, which is extremely low for a 2006 boat. Most of those hours, 85 to 90% of them have been idle speed, which is crazy to think about. But that's drafting and fishing no wake and idle only lakes and all that stuff. But two ways to purchase it. You can buy it as it sits right now for $32,000. That comes with two Solix 15 Gen 2s. It comes with a 15-inch LVS 34 live scope system, three 31 series batteries, three of which are Odyssey 21 or 31 series, 31 or PCM 2150s. It comes with a brand new NOCO 4-bank battery charger. It's going to have a ton of stuff. It's going to have a new Minn Kota Ultrex Quest. It's all networked together. Everything is good to go. It's going to cost you $32,000 to buy it that way. Dual axle trailer, the whole shebang. Or if you want me to re-rig it, I will sell it to you for $20,000. That's going to come with a 80-pound thrust Minn Kota Fortrex, so it still works just fine. I just upgraded it. And two 6-inch graphs and three batteries. Everything else will practically stay with me for that price. But it is for sale. If you know somebody looking, I can definitely send you guys pictures. Something that I am looking to do is sell my boat this winter, or now. I'd like to sell my boat now and buy a boat this winter. I'm looking at the Phoenix 721 ZXL, which was just released. Chris Malone had one and sold it. There is another one down there. I believe it's like a silver collar, as Tyler was telling me the other day. I'm gonna try to go down there one day next week. If it doesn't sell, shoot a video about it, showing you guys what's going on with that boat. The deck is made a little wider. The gunnels have been made a little bit more shallow, so you have a little bit more fishing room there on the front of that deck. They used to be on the 721s, you would have split lids on the front, so you'd have two different compartments. Now they have one big lid. Those 721 ZXLs come with standard with slam latches, which are really nice. But you can get one fairly decked out for about $75,000. And when you think about $75,000 is a lot of cash, but go try to look at a bass boat anymore. $75,000 is freaking like that gets you in you pay $75,000 to get in a boat dealership anymore. So that's what I'm looking to buy right now. I think I'm going to go with like a dark and red theme, something like Galaxy Mist with red pins. I just really like that kind of murdered out look on a boat. Tyler says deck is 5 inches wider at the back of the trolling motor. So you can get the opportunity to have those boats set up for dual stacked dual stacked graphs up front, which is something that I was talking about with Chris. I like the ability to get those things closer to me to see them, so that's why I told him I didn't know if I wanted to do that or not. But you can get power poles, you can get everything that you want on there, and they have packages, right? So you can deck it out even more than $75,000. If you want to put 75 graphs on there, obviously it's going to cost you more than $75,000. But a basic nice fishing package with like some Garmin's and some power poles, about $75 and some change. Obviously that's without taxes, title, and all. But that's roughly about what it's going to cost you. Don't quote me on that because I'm not a salesman there, and I could be telling you over the price or definitely under the price. But their national sales brochure claims that you can roughly get something with like you're not going to get like 15-inch or probably not even 12-inch graphs. You're probably going to get 10-inch graphs and a power pole set up with dual power poles and stuff for about $75,000. Could you put more and better stuff on there? Sure you can, but I feel like you're getting a really high-end boat for an entry-level boat price, which is what really intrigues me. And the fact that if I sell my boat for $20,000 and I have all my other stuff, that's going to have two Solix 15s, a 12-inch Garmin, with the LVS 34 system. All those, everything I just mentioned will go on this new boat, which is going to save me some money also. So that's what I'm looking for. But if you guys know anybody that's looking for a boat, send them my way. I got a really nice boat, guys. I've taken, I pride myself on taking care of my own stuff, whether that be my truck or my boat or whatever. I fix anything that breaks on them, and I take very good care of my stuff. It's going to be one of the cleanest 2006 boats you've seen. Very little stress cracks in it. There's very few scratches, nicks, dings, but you're talking almost 20 years of fishing in it, so it's going to have the standard fishing gear. But it's a nice boat, and I've already made up my mind. I'm going to really try to sell it this winter. If I don't sell it, I'm just going to, I'm going to live and die in that boat because I like the boat. I really enjoy it. I'll eventually have to put a new motor on it because that's just the way that it goes. Every 2-stroke motor, every 4-stroke motor is eventually going to blow up if you use them as much as we do. So eventually I'll put another Mercury on there. I've been looking at Yamaha engines, but it's really tough for me to spend. And you're spending $25,000 on a Mercury to spend an extra $5,000 on a Yamaha. I don't know if it's worth it in the long run to pick that up. I do think that Suzuki has probably the most reliable motor on the market right now. They're just not getting the amount of speed and things out of those things as you would a Mercury or even a Yamaha.
Andrew's talking about a ZXR21. Those are beautiful boats. It's just they are expensive. Those are expensive ones for sure.
So the ZXR are what they call the budget-friendly version of the FXR, which is probably what you're thinking about. But they're all expensive.
I think it's like 80 versus 90 starting, as I recall. But I remember looking at those and being kind of like, but everything is like that now.
Yep, Brent, I assume you're talking with Tyler, and he's probably going to trade it in. That's the deal right now, I would say. Tyler says it's $1,500 for a different so maybe they're not $5,000. Maybe I was just looking at buying it up. Humminbird going out with Explorer. So they have the Apex obviously right now, and they have Solix and Helix. Jared has Helix. I have Solix. I haven't messed with the Apex yet. One of the things I really wish I would have got one of the Apex versions for is that if you watch Tactical Bass and stuff, they're obviously big on Humminbird as well, but it has an HDMI out port. So you can actually put a recorder on there and record what you're seeing on your screen to show people what you're doing. You can do that on some Garmin's, like the Echo Maps. I think the more expensive ones, you cannot do it on a standard map Garmin graph, which is a huge kind of letdown. And Humminbird, even worse than that, you can like record your screen on the graph. You can go in there and hit record, and it records everything. You can go in there, you can hit play. It shows you everything that just happened. It shows you, like, if you have it on a live scope version or their version of it, you can see the fish eat it, and it goes up. I was like, dude, that is cool. I want to get that so I can record some things, especially if I'm talking about fishing structure, and so I can show what I'm fishing. The best part about that whole thing is that you cannot export it. You can export it until your heart's content, but they don't have any kind of viewer. It's its own proprietary video file format, so you can't show it anywhere. You have to watch it on your graph, and that is it. Boo.
Record it with your phone, I guess, while it's on your graph.
That's terrible. All right, guys, we're about that 40-minute mark. You know what that means? Jared's going to tell us a joke.
I ain't got no jokes. No funny, man. Got to bring Jack in here for that.
Yep. Remember, next weekend, first responder / veteran tournament at Yatesville, $50 a boat. Have to be either a veteran or a first responder, or have one of said folks in your boat. If you know somebody that doesn't fish, that's part of that deal, pack them in the boat and let them watch you catch fish. I don't think they would have anything to say about that. They are paying back an abundance of places. The reason I say that is that we've been in talks about building 30 plaques for them. So that's a lot. 30 places. I don't know how many boats are going to be fishing, but JR and I are looking to make an appearance. I think this Friday I have a football game, but I will be hitting the lake Saturday and Sunday of this weekend. Going to go try to find some fish for that. I might go out on Saturday and fish that the store tournament. I'm going to be there anyway, so go out there and try it out, see what happens, run my boat, make sure the live wells work, all that jazz. Really excited to finally get back in my boat. But again, trying to sell it. If I don't, that'll probably bury me a bit. There you go, Lightning. The Explorer version, I'm going to guess right off the rip because it has an X in it, it's going to be budget friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Corey, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, if you heard me earlier, let me know if you can still mix up some garlic fish sauce. Let me know. I'll probably get me some pinch of garlic and stuff mixed up, especially before the spring goes up. So just let me know. Oh, sorry, Jeremy. Yep, it replaces the helix. With any luck, if I was a Humminbird rep and I was a Humminbird, engineer, I make the helix touchscreen for sure. I don't make them as like crazy, over the top like the Solix or Apex, but I feel like that the Helix version, it drives me bonkers not having touchscreen. Brant Jones in a tree. There's squirrels don't bite. Gosh dang it! How those squirrels ain't hitting. Buck should be chasing here soon. I've got 8 does on my back of my heel, probably right now, I would say, in the old deer feeder. I agree with that. Tennessee Bassmaster for sure. They are definitely last in the market. That's why I love Humminbird. Like, I would love to have straight Humminbird stuff. But right now, I have a 12-inch Garmin because I feel like Garmin has the best stuff on the planet as far as live scope goes. Especially the LVS 34 stuff. They have that crazy like LVS 62 or whatever the saltwater one is. I got the ability to see a fella use that in the Lake Champlain tournament, and dude, it was nuts. He was seeing bait balls out at like 200 feet from his boat, which was really frustrating for me because he was putting his boat on high gear on his trolling motor and running to those bait balls. And like 2 to 6 mile or 2 to 4 mile an hour while he was fishing, which was nuts.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. So again, if you guys want to get out and do some fishing, I'll probably see you guys at Grayson or Yatesville one of this week. Definitely one or the other. I'll probably go to Yatesville just to see what I can beat around out there for a while and see if I can't find some fish. Do a little graphing, do a little live scoping, do a little fish catching, do a little yapping and talking to myself. But that's going to be coming up this weekend. First responder veteran tournament next weekend. They always have a store tournament out there if you want to get out there. I mean, I feel like $50 is a decent amount of money that you could pay to get in a tournament, at least to get your feet wet for sure.
Mm-hmm. Not like 500 like the Nick's casting for kids.
Yeah, I think I told you guys last week the next Casting for Kids Classic, and it's going to be the top 100 boats from both events, the Kentucky one and the Tennessee. The top 100 boats will qualify. $500 entry fee. It's going to be $100,000 payout. That's crazy. That's easily the biggest tournament I've ever fished as far as payout goes.
Yeah, it makes it hard that when the person that won this last year is a pro. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the deal. Like I'm weird when it comes to that because I feel like my skills are just as good. I would put my skills up against any pro. Now, are they going to catch more fish than me more consistently? Sure. But like my dad always used to say, a line hog will find a nut every now and again. Anyway, guys, we will see you guys next week. Really struggling trying to figure out topics to talk about because we've been doing this, between me and JR, I've been doing this for a better part of 4 years. And it's really tough to get people on the show that people want to talk to because everybody does this stuff. We are in the talks of getting Mark Zona and a few people on to kind of dive into their, world of fishing. We're working on it. So if you have any topics or stuff, definitely shoot us a message. We'd love to even have you folks out there. We're not all about pros. We'd love to have you guys on here. We can talk fishing with the best of them. So we'll see you guys on the live next week, and it will be same bat time, same bat channel, which is normally a Tuesday instead of Wednesday, and that's why this one it'll be next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you know what to do. If you can, get out there and lean on. We'll see you next time on Another Line.
Do